Hi there guys, Al here, Grumpy Grognard Gaming. Been busy, getting ready for a wedding, my wedding. Stag do's might have gone by the time this goes up, to be honest. Can be some fun with the lads. But I fancy getting my hobby on. I fancy doing a bit of hobby. It's been too long. And although I'm going to be doing Heresy Ravenguard, like I said in my previous video, that's going to be a fairly large project. So I've got to print the army, assemble the army. It's quite a lot. I want something smaller. Kind of put off by Underworlds at the moment, so I don't fancy doing one of my remaining Underworlds warbands because Underworlds is just pissing me off. So I kind of decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to revisit some of my old models. Rather than painting something from scratch, I'm just going to see if I can improve something. And the thing that I've chosen is my Sisters of Sigmar warband from Mordheim. For those of you who might not know, Mordheim is probably the best Games Workshop game that ever got made. It's like a fantasy version of Necromunda, probably the best way I can put it, with quite a few changes. You had henchmen rather than having individual characters, so you had a few individual characters and then your henchmen formed groups, so they level up differently. And it was just a great game. It had a few balance issues, but you know what? Back in those days, we didn't care. It was fun. It was a well-made game. It wasn't broken. Games Workshop didn't need to patch it every 5 minutes. All they did was abandon it after its initial releases and then just relegate it to getting a magazine every now and again called Town Crier that had a load of fan-created and GW created input and rules and scenarios and things, and published that instead to keep the game going. They didn't constantly keep revisiting the game with updates and breaking it and bringing out something that was better and new and spangly and breaking it that way as well. There was no power creep. The Skaven were kind of broken. Hell, my Sisters of Sigmar were kind of broken by the time you got adding strength and stuff to their already strong Sigmarite hammers, hitting at strength 5 with -2 save. But on the other side, they were crap at ranged. They had slings. Couldn't get bows and arrows for those. So, the games balanced themselves because back then, the game's designers were competent. And I'm not just saying that because it's Thomas Pirinen, who I've interviewed twice on this channel. It was just a great game. And I kind of hope GW never touch it. I really do. Because I'd hate to see Mordheim bastardised. And as much as I'm excited to see what could be done from a miniature perspective, I fear for what they would do to the game. I fear they would just ruin it completely. Let it lie. It's a lovely example of late 90s Games Workshop game design, and if you haven't played it, check it out. And I love my Sisters of Sigmar warband. They did really well in a few campaigns, really well, and I had a lot of fun painting them at the time. But it was 20 years ago now, and I think I can do better. What I will say is that they've held up pretty well for 20 years. I would say that they are quite indicative of my painting style, which is quite dark overall. There's no real bright colours there. I was kind of doing grimdark before it was grimdark, if you know what I mean. But looking at them, they could definitely, for a start, there's chip damage. They're metal models, and I have abrasive hands, and metal models chip. So there's a bit of damage to be covered up there. And there's definitely a few highlights that I could take a little bit further, I think. Some of the red could be brought up a tiny bit. Certainly the gloves and stuff could be highlighted up with some lighter browns. And I think the metallics could do with some work. Could definitely do some work on highlighting the metallics, going for a more new metal style, rather than just letting the metal paint do its, do the work on its own, as it's being made to do at the moment. So yeah, I definitely think they could do with a little bit of a touch-up. And the other thing that could really use redoing is the bases. Now, Mordheim was always played on square bases because Warhammer Fantasy models came on square bases. It was as simple as that. Even though these would never be required to rank up in a game of Warhammer in their lives, metal molds were always kind of two-dimensional in nature. So yeah, these actually rank up quite nicely if you wanted to use them in a game of Fantasy Battle or something. I don't know what. There was no Sisters of Battle equivalent. So yeah, metal models, blast from the past, but in some few places I think I could do a little bit better. There's some that don't really need anything at all, just a little bit of definition, a little bit of highlighting on the creases and things like that. One thing I will say about these models is back in the day when GW could sculpt faces, because these are all hand sculpted out of green stuff, no CAD bollocks here, these are probably some of the best faces I ever painted. I'm not sure that I even do faces this well these days. Some of these are really nice. And tattoo work on the I can't remember what the bloody model's name now is now, but I've called her Shala. Yeah, these aren't too bad, Al, you know? Good job 20 years ago, Al. But, as I said, I think I could do better. So, I'm going to repaint them. Might do some vid, may just be some pics of that process. I'm also going to do a little bit of work to this Alim character that I've got here, who was originally near the Sword of Twilight, and he was given away on the front of the White Dwarf that came with Mordheim, like the release and everything. Mordheim itself was a great game, played loads of it, the buildings were a bastard, but you could always get back into Mordheim so easily these days. The rules are all available online if you know where to look. I'm not talking like Russian sites and torrents and things. People have just, there's fan sites that have done stuff with Mordheim. Mordheim is one of those games that's endured in the fan sphere more than anything else. So much work's been done, and there's plenty of modern models out there if that's more your bag. The other thing that I'm going to have to do with these models is, so I got on a bit of a tangent, didn't I? As I was saying, square bases, rank up, lovely, but they were kind of crap for the game. So I'm going to put them on my round bases because I'm not likely to play a game with these again, and I just want them to look better. And the basing, that's one thing that I've definitely got better at, is basing. These bases are pretty rough. So I've got some nice bases that I've 3D printed off. We'll take these off their bases, which won't be hard, and snip off the tab. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. So the plan, get all the sisters touched up a little bit. Just, they don't need a lot, just a slight little sort of spruce up here and there. Give them a rebase, and do another video, and maybe espouse my love of Mordheim a little bit more, because it really was just one of the greatest games. So yeah, just a quick little hobby update there. I'll do some work over the next few weeks, along with painting up the wedding cake toppers that I've printed, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye.